teams swapping around them, and they're kind of the unsung heroes for why this team was still picking up wins despite having Onda in here for a couple games and Peckinwolf for a little bit. So I think Airy, JJ, and No all deserve a fair amount of credit as well.
I have to agree. As we're into the draft, TL banning Zach and Alistar there on their side, and Skana and Zoe. We're going to start to see a lot of this on the red side, I feel like. These are just mainstays of those pockets of the bans.
Yeah, I think heading into LCS this weekend, you're going to see a lot of those two red side bans. GP probably being the third kind of accepted red side ban, unless you're opting into the GP metagame, which is you first pick GP, I pick my favorite counter, I try and smash you before you outscale and destroy my team.
And that's the game we're playing today. Azir actually the ban away from Mickey. And TL not going to play the game, actually going to take Sejuani.
Yeah, Viper is kind of that licorice player in the LCS. He just always has these weird, crazy counter picks, playing Riven, playing whatever the hell he feels like, whatever his mouse lands on today. So they will take the aggressive side of the GP metagame. We'll just have to see if No opts into it, because he doesn't play a ton of carries. He does feel kind of like that team role player, while Shrimp and Keen and Airy to an extent even play more aggressive.
Yeah, a bit more of the tank man in the top side as Ezreal selected there for Airy. We'll see if Shrimp also wants to take a jungler here. He's pretty well known for the Nunu around the traps.
Yeah, has played, been coached by St. Vicious a lot, so gets a lot of that do the Nooners strategy, if you could call it that.
Well, that's a different jungler starting with N. There's Jax though, certainly something we've seen a lot of junglers take. Not that many bans in the jungle. I guess Kha'Zix and Skana are kind of the big ones, but interesting to see Shrimp take something like Jax.
Yeah, you just see a fair amount of respect given to him with the Zac ban as well. He was playing a lot of that. It was looking pretty good. So Shrimp being a key member here for FlyQuest in terms of their early game and getting things happening, and then that's where the carries and the laners start becoming the really consistent members in the mid to late game. The Camille take by Team Liquid Academy, not too surprising given that Viper does love his carries and that champion's up, don't want to risk it getting banned out, so they grab it when they can. And like we were saying with that GP metagame, you did see in the Echo Fox versus C9 game, because Echo Fox knows C9 does not prioritize it, they don't need to keep their priority up very high on it, and they can let it drop down more and more. So here, FlyQuest, maybe they still take that GP a little bit later, but that's pretty scary to do into the enemy's Camille Galio.
Yeah, this is a really strong top side of the map for TL. Camille Galio Sejuani has a lot of combo potential, so Keen will take a counter pick in mid lane instead, and we'll see what No wants to play in the back end of this draft. As Cassio was locked in.
Cassio having the DPS needed to chunk out that Galio can be kind of difficult to do. That's why you often see really weird counters like a Lucian or a Fiora. Cassio, one of the best mids for doing that as well.
Yep. Also be seeing a lot more Cassio, likely moving into 8.4, but still perfectly serviceable here on 8.3.
Tear of the Goddess would be a good item.
Is it good?
Yeah,
all right, there you go. That's a tip for everyone playing solo queue at home. Tear of the Goddess confirmed good by Mark Zimmerman as Tarek banned away by FlyQuest Academy.
Yep, so a bit of a mismatch basically with the 80 carries and the top laners being banned out. We'll have to see if Team Liquid does start banning those tops out. There you go. The Gnar, a little surprising and a bit of a respect ban to No, because generally speaking, the Camille beats the Gnar, especially with the help of the Galio. You can get a lot of dives off. It's a pretty common strategy, and they're kind of saying, you know what? No's pretty good on Gnar, and if you play a good Gnar, suddenly a lot of things become more difficult.
We'll see what Fly have in store for their final ban of this draft. No, it's a bot lane and not a support, but Xayah still banned away. Makes sense, it's kind of the strong half of Xayah Rakan.
Right, you ban away part of it and you blow up the whole bot lane together. And like you said, most people are not playing Rakan without Xayah.
But some people are playing Xayah without Rakan. It's not that common, but it is seen sometimes.
Yeah, but you just don't want to fall to that super engaged comp. We've seen a lot of people do it. Even FlyQuest Academy themselves, or FlyQuest, the main roster, excuse me, ran a similar team comp that got him a win in the LCS when they had Xayah, Rakan, Galio, and I'm not sure if it was Camille or not in the top lane, but either way, that bot lane with Galio is just too much engaged for most teams to deal with.
I hope not, because Camille Galio is way too good to be giving away to a team, and maybe Fly will pay the price here in the early draft versus TL. All No is the other ban from No. That's kind of one of the big picks I was expecting from him. Again, more of a role player, been playing tanks really well. On is kind of the premier tank, and No, true to form, will actually stick to Maokai.
Yeah, and the Ornn in particular has a decent matchup into Camille, so understand Team Liquid taking that one away. Here, looks like they're going to go for some more engaged tools, maybe with the Varus pick.
Yep, nice aggressive bot lane as well. Can try and muscle out the Ezreal in the 2v2. They need a bot lane though, and they already had two things banned away. So there's one with the Varus, we presume, and then supports have got some picks here.
And Varus is a common pick into the Ezreal, like you said, has a good matchup into it, can push him in, and then with the ultimate, you can maybe find him and kill him if he's a little out of position, and often you see some kind of follow-up in the support position. Zillion is not usually what you see with it. We've seen a little bit of Zillion. Zaze will pick that one.
I was excited for the first 2 hovers. This one excites me significantly less.
Yeah, not looking forward to this pick if this is what they go for.
All right.
Braum a little bit more reasonable, rounds out the team comp fairly well. I can understand it.
This one I like. Braum Varus, nice and standard, nice and aggressive.
Do you like it, or you just not dislike it?
Okay, I think it's more of the latter than the former. I don't hate it. Let's put it that way, as JJ hovering Janna locked in as well pretty quick. Very defensive bot lane here. I'm a little worried about Ezreal Janna versus this team comp.
Yeah, I mean, Janna's nice for resetting a team fight, but Camille and Galio, generally speaking, when the Camille goes in, the Galio comes in on top. So even if you ult the Camille out for a split second, the Galio is going to come on top and blow everything up again and interrupt that ultimate by Janna. So that actually is a relatively difficult Janna, because you'll have to time your resetting of the team fights very well so it doesn't end before you do it, but you don't get re-engaged on right away by the Galio.
And of course, with all that engage, Janna dies real quick in any sort of pickup situation. So could be a rough matchup here, but FlyQuest have shown again putting together strong, solid comps and playing around their players and playing together. Team Liquid Academy have been a hot mess. I think in Academy, it's safe to say, at least at time, we'll see if we get the real good or the real not good.
Yeah, I mean, they are a team that has found a lot of wins by feeling like they out-mechanic opponents. Mickey in particular, he's the most aggressive Azir I've ever laid eyes on, just constantly going for shuffles in the mid lane. And sometimes that leads to them having unbelievably stompy victories, and other times it leads to very messy wins.
We'll see if he can do the same with a very aggressive Galio. Right now he's got Teleport and Electrocute, so looking a little bit spicier, but Keen is a formidable opponent here in mid lane. So definitely excited to see those two duke it out.
30 seconds.
Otherwise, gonna have to hold on to your pants in the top side of the map. Hardened Viper, also lots of pressure they can build up.
Yeah, Maokai, you know, he is a tank, a little bit harder to dive than some of the other matchups that they could have ended up into. And so no, with the W, it is a very hard dive to avoid, but you can do it. Hopefully your team is backing you up if that is the case.
And then again, kind of sticking to the script here for FlyQuest in what they've drafted. Very safe scaling bot lane. Gonna try and just not get the Janna kill. That seems to be usually the goal in any Janna 2v2 lane, is just don't die.
And at the same time, the enemy team is often like, kill that Janna. So we've seen in the LCS when matched up like this, I think it was 100 Thieves versus CLG, 100 Thieves had a very clear strategy on how to kill that Janna. Flash Braum Q, Sejuani follows up, pretty easy.
Are you the Wind Goddess or a walking sack of gold? That's kind of the game you'll play here, as Shrimp started on the red buff here with some help from No. Viper is already to his lane, so good info would suggest that Hard is on his red buff. This leash will make it even more obvious, and Eri and JJ are going to get to lane first, start pushing this in towards the Varus and the Braum.
And this is a matchup we're talking about how, generally speaking, Varus is well into Ezreal, but Janna does well into Braum, and a lot of matchups are slightly more important on the support side. So you could see this being a little bit more difficult of a matchup for Team Liquid Academy's bot lane than we were initially kind of saying, because we were probably expecting 2 tanks in the bot lane. But with that Janna pick now, it is more volatile, but the matchup might be in their favor.
Have to see, but right now Keen and Mickey just playing up. Looks like Mickey will even up the CS pretty much as he takes these waves, but he's again just going to drag them all the way back. Hit one down and just try and control that wave, as Viper also looking to zone out the Maokai, but no, he's doing just fine right now. Already hit level 2, didn't get zoned off the wave early on despite helping with the leash. And again, No, like you said, has been definitely an unsung hero for this team, consistently role-playing well. And against a player like Viper and a team like Liquid, that's really all you need to ask for.
And it's interesting because I think I wasn't really considering how good he was, and then we did some stats analysis messing around with some formulas, and they're not perfect, but he always seemed to end up on the top of the list. And after a little bit of messing around with these formulas, you realize that like it's not just because he's on a winning team. Noah's actually playing extremely well on his role in this team, which is primarily as a tank player. And if you're looking at that in the LCS, that's really not that bad. I mean, the idea that you have a top laner who will not receive much priority in the draft, play for the team's function, do well, and then be a good frontliner, like that's all you can really ask for.
Well, hard though with a nice cheeky steal. The Shrimp is trying to collapse here. Good ground there from King with the miasma of Mickey. He's going to get it off, and JJ just got a kill. Mickey got his taunt cleanse off now. He's going to get stunned and be forced to flash, but the flashes will follow, and King gets the next kill.
And there we get to see the extra bot lane priority that comes in for FlyQuest Academy, having that Janish. He's able to get up and help that roam to find the pick off onto Hard. Mickey wanted to try and help him, but not actually able to do so. And now you see Shrimp moving in to get some vision control with that win. And Mickey going with the Electrocute. It's kind of his playstyle, the more aggressive version. And no unsealed spellbook to help him out with the early laning phase. It doesn't even have cooldown. So here we see that attempt again. FlyQuest know he's coming, and Shrimp is kind of playing dumb because he knows JJ can make his way up there.
And again, miasma gets crowded, and this is the fastest I've seen a Sedge die in a while.
Yeah.
And then Mickey, again, play gets extended, stun lands, and he's dead as soon as that flash happens.
Yeah, so just a huge mistake there by Hard, just really tunneling and going for that smite steal on the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah. Remember, one of the few nerfs that Ronnie has received in recent patches was cooldown on that Q to give you a little less mobility. No, it wasn't going to matter there, but it's the reason you have to be very careful with your mobility as a jungler. Yes. Pays the price.
Yep, he goes down, and that's a huge advantage. 1,500 gold about. Really can potentially hurt your mid lane priority, which is very important for like the win conditions of Team Liquid's team comp, where the Camille wants to hit 6, wants to start getting dives off on this top laner, but if Galio starts sacking waves to do that every single time, you can really fall behind if any of those attempts go poorly.
Yep, you can see No actually getting some shove onto Viper here with the Malco pulling up. Seems to know his matchup quite well. Applying pressure is not something we would expect, but this should get better for Viper, as Camille does scale very well, especially with their first few items. So certainly not lost yet, but if we were looking to mid lane to kind of be our focal point of this game, unfortunately for TLA, you're going to have to ignore the mid lane for a couple minutes, because Keen is so accelerated now in the matchup.
Yeah, I got one of his comfort picks in the Casio.
And got a counter pick, and now got first blood participation and second blood.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how this is a bit of a test for Mickey to say, I deserve time in the LCS, not going off to a great start right away. And, I mean, if he can bounce back, though, that does speak a lot to what he is capable of doing, because this is a pretty horrendous start for the mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, looks like JJ going to run back up, help Shrimp out with his Cloud Drake. Very early take here, 6 minutes in, but straightforward stuff as Shrimp lands the Smite. JJ going to take a recall. Aries done the same. And I imagine Shoyu and Joey will join in soon. Keen back to farming there under the turret.
But with that time that they spent there, it has bought time for Mickey to start moving up here as this minion wave comes in, and level 6 is no shop yet, so Viper is missing some damage here, but decided to go for the dive.
Here comes the first big test for No. Can he survive the gank? First stun land, gets the root down, actually going to get a kill on Viper! His taunt is going to land, but a root has already happened. No with an early defensive ultimate completely outplays that dive, and Keen might even chase for another kill on Mickey.
And there you get to see why No is getting a lot of respect right now. Ends up on the Maokai pick, plays that dive super well. Mickey has to ult out of there defensively, and No on his own kind of turns what would have been a 1v3 dive.
Excellent read on that situation. Every little bit of the kit used there for No. Great stopwatch as Viper just went too far forward. JJ forced to burn his own status with the impending 4th shot for that stun onto the Janna. So her stopwatch now broken as well.
And so with that dive that happened in the top lane, it's going to be very easy to kind of point to TLA's execution there and say, oh, wow, you know, they misplayed that, which they did. Viper goes in and takes turret aggro before his team's ready, and then never gets to disjoint the turret aggro with his ultimate because he goes for the E first, and then he has a chain CC combo that comes in, so Viper can never actually ult because he, No also went untargetable, so there's no one he can even ult if he wanted to break the turret aggro. A mistake on Viper's end using the E before the ultimate. You can criticize them for that, but at the same time, No played it perfectly and lived through that with a ton of HP left over, so really impressive.
Oh, stunner to the Janna there from Sejuani. JJ looking for the reset, but he's not going to get it. He'll just get death. Varus picking up that kill.
Yeah, and that's the problem with that Janna pick on the other side of the map. You're concerned about the top side, but your Janna is extremely susceptible to ganks as well. So top lane not working out. Quickly flip their focus down to the bot side, and Team Liquid Academy answer back.
Smart stuff to try and attack this area, and we'll see if they continue here onto the turret. Looks like they're going to back it up though. Harry going to just true shot barrage down the wave, and everyone's going to take their recall and spend their extra gold, but again, had a big focus on that mid and jungle from the veterans over on the FlyQuest Academy side. Looks like No has tied the room together nicely. Top side winning completely in this early game for FlyQuest Academy. And after those first 3 picks from TLA's draft, that is not the words I expected to say 8.5 minutes through.
No, sir. Not at all. So Team Liquid Academy are going to need to refocus and find a way to get some advantages in this game. If you just look at scaling on their own, generally feels like they will get outperformed by the Cassio and the Ezreal. Viper will potentially have foot push pressure, but like you said, after the top side's gone this poorly already early on, it's an uphill battle for him.
And now a roam mid actually here for No, going to try and get damage on to Mickey. We'll get the root. Dive is incoming. No just dives straight in for it. Moves on back, and Mickey just can't get out. JJ with another kill.
And there you get to see No again. Surprisingly winning on the top side, wants to share that load with his team, gets the roam to the mid lane. How often do you see a mid lane roam onto a Galio and kill him? Not too often.
Well, I've seen it today. Beautiful coordination there for FlyQuest. Again, the roaming John and paying off well. As JJ notches a second kill at 2-1-1. Ult miss there for the Varus though. He's going to call up any kind of play.
Yeah, it's right attempt. Bot lane feels like they're under pressure, watching things go wrong on the top side. And what a game by No already. Just as I was starting to sing his praises about how he's not just a team player, and actually is one of the best performing top laners in the entire Academy League, despite receiving no attention with all the other carry players here. You see why he is so good. He understands that now that I have pressure, now that I'm not just trying to survive versus Camille, I can do more in this game. And he goes out and does just that. Really impressive play out of him early on. And someone who I think a lot of people have been overlooking thus far in the Academy League.
Well, certainly making his case here in this game. Hard is back, but spotted on a ward. Viper ready with the ult, gets a slow down. No gonna get himself out of this one potentially. No, not enough damage. The stun's lost forever. And Hard able to finally get the kill.
Commentator's curse, Pastry. Singing his praises up a little far in lane. Only has one ward out there, and they miss Hard coming in for that gank. Overextended in the lane just a little bit, and a ton of chain CC. It keeps him locked down there, not able to fight that one out. Gives a kill back over to the Camille.
Does his shopping note, has a Cinder and the Chain Vest now. Probably had a lot of money unspent, which not helping his situation in the 1v2. Nevertheless, nice play from Team Liquid Academy. They do need to find their spots and get gold where they can. Still behind, actually 2,000 gold, but Viper getting ahead is going to do wonders for them as this game moves forward. Shrimp, though, sneaky Rift Herald attempt with the control ward, hopped over the back, trying to get the solo happening.
Yeah, doing a good job with these mechanics. Pulls it a little bit away from the wall to make sure that he can get the leap strike, end up behind it, and get the eye hit. So, showing that he is, in fact, a competent jungler. I would hope everyone would be able to do that in the professional league.
I mean, little things certainly do matter. For example, I wouldn't have known to do that, but we're at very different levels as Shrimp finishes off that Rift Herald and takes his speedy recall back. Not quite in vision of TLA's ward, I don't think, but of course the global announcement will make them realize that something is amiss. And with Cloud Drake also coming back in 5 seconds, FlyQuest can try and snowball those objectives as Viper backing onto Nose for some damage, but Aftershock procs and Maokai just going to walk away.
Yeah, Maokai, very beefy. Hard to take advantage of in the 1v1, especially when things don't go well early on. And that's kind of sometimes the case for Team Liquid, where things don't go well early on, and they do find their way back into these games seemingly out of nowhere. But it happens a little bit too frequently, which is why you see that they are actually below FlyQuest in the standings. So this is a good test from this position for Team Liquid. Now that things have gone wrong, are they able to bounce back? And for FlyQuest, can they maintain that consistency despite being against one of the other top teams in the league?
Shrimp here channeling the Rift Herald, but no cancel coming out. Kane already had some good damage done, so Shelly will finish off the majority of this turret health. Hard actually looking for an engage, finds JJ, flash forward for the Glacial Fissure. We're going to try and get the kill. JJ just going to die to Mickey on the other end as he entrances out of the way. He's got almost no health left though, but he does manage to Justice Punch out. Keen tried to find the kill, but he's not going to grab it. Shelly's still going off. Does get the turret, but no TP'd in. Finds the root, and oh goodness, that Bramble barely missed Mickey.
Team Liquid Academy very lucky to get out with no deaths, but they still lose their turret. JJ goes down again, 2, 2, and 1 for the Janna. Has found some kills of her own to answer back, not just getting picked on completely, but you see why it is so difficult to play Janna into a team comp with multiple engaged threats. Yeah, you get your ult off and try and survive the first one, but the second one will interrupt you out of your ultimate while you're trying to heal back up. So the Sejuani off on the side, good look, snipes him out, tries to get the ult to reset the fight, but guess what? A Braum ult's coming in as follow-up. So JJ drops down, Mickey barely jumps up and out of the way. The knockback with the Justice Punch, buying enough space for him to live. No shows up a little late, not actually able to contribute to that fight. And FlyQuest do grow their lead, but also give a kill back at the same time.
Yeah, it's felt a little messy. As FlyQuest still ahead, but not able to quite execute on a lot of these players. We praised their coordination and consistency. That was a good idea, but execution was not up to par. Certainly from what we've seen from this team already. So Team Liquid maybe bringing them down into the chaos for a little bit here.
I mean, it's definitely something you can do with this scrappy team comp and kind of more early game focus on Team Liquid Academy. You're fine trading kills as long as the ult's ending up on the right members. And while, you know, FlyQuest Academy do have some of those extra kills and gold advantage, a lot of it is kind of on Janna with 2 kills, you know, most on her team.
Yep, overperformance here from the bloodthirsty support. As everything's just kind of calming back down. Kane looks like he'll just play in his long lane for now. Still with the safety of his turret. Shrimp is fancying an invade here versus Hard. So it looks like the Drake might be the real prize here. FlyQuest Academy push their lanes, and Shrimp going to start off this next objective.
Yeah, and just so much vision control down that bot side with the fact that Jax often takes zombie ward. By often, I mean always, and gives you a lot extra Baron control or objective control. And surprisingly, first through the game was the mid lane, something you don't often see, especially versus the Galio. So that's just going to give a ton of control over the jungle for FlyQuest Academy, but it's dangerous.
Yep, another stun land. Shotgun shift might not be enough. Flash out, but a great chain of corruption from Shoryu. As Eri again looking for that reset after Stasis needs more shift, but Shrimp is going to jump in, finds the stun onto the front line as Hard. He's going to get CC'd up. Good defense there from Shrimp. No kills counted, but FlyQuest Academy get out. As Keen also roaming down.
Yep, has a surprising amount of mid priority against the Galio. Is able to get down there. So Mickey was stuck clearing waves, but no dive coming in, so Mickey doesn't need to shadow that play. And there's the Janna pick coming up pretty big. If you go onto the Ezreal, it's a lot harder to find those kills, and Janna can help reset the fight.
Shrimp in mid, but protecting Keen as he shoves down this wave. Going to force Mickey off to the left, actually. Keen even going for the Raptors now, just to really extend the farm lead that he's already built in this matchup. And Viper again backing onto No, but Maokai is just awfully tanky for a Camille that doesn't even have Trinity Force bought yet.
Yeah, but Noah has fallen a little bit further behind in CS. Couple roams to the mid lane, one of them not really resulting in much. As well as the fact that Camille does win the matchups has resulted in him starting to fall behind. Luckily, with the kill and assist he has, is able to complete his first item, so he's not really in threat of getting solo killed at all. We'll just mostly focus on wave clearing from here on out. And as long as FlyQuest keep a track of Mickey, he's not really going to have to worry about dying anytime soon.
Yeah, you can kind of see the difference here in mid. Again, Keen just has so much control. Item-wise, they're both charging up Rod Evaders, but Keen is a couple of levels up as far as that individual item goes, and even then you look, Morello getting built with the Lost Chapter plus that tier stacking. All standard stuff for Cassio, but just that non-magic mantle and the Rod Evaders still stacking through Mickey means that it's getting tough here for the Galio to get Cassio out from under him. And like you just mentioned, if Galio can't influence other places on the map, doesn't really do too much, even with all the damage that he will be building.
Yeah, full AP Galio, which is what most people build him at this point, is a lot more effective when a game goes like this. If you're tank Galio, you fall behind and you're not doing anything other than engaging, very bad pick from behind. But from this position, AP Galio, if the game stalls out, he can still do a lot of damage just with the winds of war spam that comes in.
FlyQuest, though, continuing to control this bottom side of the map. Again, looking for another turret by the looks of things. JJ and Eri playing up, but don't want to be too ambitious here in the bot side. We've seen more than enough pickoffs on the Janna now, but 3v3, a Shrimp is down here to counter-strike and clear this ward out. And FlyQuest Academy with Keen also roaming down. Probably going to stick on this turret long enough to try and take it down. We'll see if TLA have some sort of counter answer here.
Still very squishy siege on the side of FlyQuest, so if Sejuani can find an angle with an ultimate that Galio can follow up on, maybe they can start engaging on these sieges, kind of like we saw in that one attempt, but Team Liquid Academy felt too far behind on the play this time to really step up and threaten that, so very easy turret take by FlyQuest. Probably going to start moving their bot lane around the map now as Viper's trying to make something happen.
All right, top side it is. Camille Galio combo, but no, he's like ulti and flash. That's all I need to get out, but dive part 2 is going to come. Justice punches in. No dodges 1, gets a bit of health back from the sap. Magic with Viper able to claim that kill.
A little too greedy and underestimating how much damage the Galio is going to be able to bring. They did get the ults out, but there's still plenty of damage in the other abilities, especially when you're electrocute. FlyQuest trying to punish though.
Here comes the answer. Shrimp with a blind flash forward. Miasma, he's going to pull Viper out still with a stun in onto Mickey. From Keen is nice, but maybe a waste of the ulti as no kills are forthcoming. Viper does get out there.
Now would Joey.
Oh no, not the face check. Ult flash, here's hard. Follow up CC, at it again, hard. Able to claim yet another kill on the Janna. Flashing now in onto Keen. Viper also here. He's gonna land the follow up stun. The cleanse not enough as Joey able to get that next kill, and Shrimp gonna maybe feed yet another over. Needs one more proc for the passive. Camille's there with the hookshot dive, and Viper able to get his next kill. FlyQuest playing too scrappy versus TLA.
And that's what we're talking about, dragging them into these kinds of games. You get a dive up on the top side, feels like they're overextended. FlyQuest want to punish, but Team Liquid Academy is very well versed in playing these hectic, fast-paced games. They react extremely well. They find a pick off onto JJ, and they do it right as Baron buff spawns. And this is what we were talking about in the last game. When you have an advantage, push it as far as you can take it. Team Liquid Academy want this big purple worm.
They're the kind of team that pushes everything as much as they can. This Baron goes down quick. From TLA, smite there from hard is true. And we'll pick up that Baron. Worm over, Mickey. Justice punches out to safety. Good chain of corruption to prevent FlyQuest from going any further. Ult from No is going to commit a lot here. Viper out though, Baron recalls. Oh, everyone gets rooted except Shoyu under the turret, but everyone clump together for warm. Try and save yourself under the turret. Eri taking Baron up, minions, the dive is coming from No. Kill to Shoyu after the flash is hard. Also getting aggressed on, JJ finds the knockup, but 2 of them will get away.
2 get away, 4 alive with this. 2 had already got their recalls off, so a little crazy, not quite as clean as you have it in your playbook, but you'll take 4 people with Baron buff from a losing position.
It's just never that clean for Team Liquid Academy.
And here you see the Miasma comes in just a little too late to stop the E from going off by Viper, so he's able to get out of that situation here. At this point, they think the play's over. FlyQuest just wants to go get some deep vision down, but they're not paying enough respect to Team Liquid Academy, who is collapsing. And you see Hard get the angle on him, gets the first kill, and then it's just a situation where they don't know when to back off.
All right, Viper Infernal though. TLA with no Drake would love to try and get this one. What is this TP? This is madness. Infernal Drake already down. Oh my God, Hard. He actually stole it with the smite. Fight's gonna reset, but FlyQuest Academy just dragged into the darkness with the rest of TLA. Hard still living. Shrimp dive the backline, but he's gonna go down hard. The hero of the back end of that team fight is Viper, still trying to make it happen. No is going to get tagged by the Braum, and oh my goodness, this Chaos as Viper finds a fat 2-man stun. That's going to be an ace for TLA.
And we talk about playing Team Liquid's game. The pace is so fast now. Don't have time to do replays as FlyQuest was trying to force that Infernal down, and they got cleaned up real quick by Team Liquid Academy.
Whew. TLA, again, playing at their speed and making it work. Everything went right. Starting with that Infernal Drake steal, and they still have Baron, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But they're going to take down that first outer turret and chug down for more mid lane outer. See you later, TLA on a rampage through the base.
And Viper has been critical in the comeback here for Team Liquid Academy, getting the kill with the help of Hard really early on to get a kill for himself against the Maokai after the first dive went so bad, and then repeated plays around the top side, and Viper are what gets them back. And especially in this team fight, he comes flying in after the kind of triple tanks of Team Liquid Academy absorb a lot of damage. You see the teleports coming in. Joey and Hard know they have to protect Mickey when he shows up. He gets the smite seal on the Infernal, and now you think it's a 4v5, but Hard is able to live for a really long time while Mickey and Viper just do so much damage to multiple members here. Just constantly getting good E's off, and then that double one at the very end, ignoring No, knowing that the rest of the team already has this, he kind of just goes past him. So you guys get them, I got these guys.
And everything just works out perfectly for TLA. So they clean up the map. 3 turrets to 2. Only took Outers for now. 20 seconds left on the Baron. Keen cleanses out of the ultimate there from Sejuani. Stun back there from Shrimp after the miasma. No, you're going to try and dive back through. That's too much. Hard. Way too far forward on that play.
Yeah, also went on the target with Cleanse. Probably assumed it was down after all the team fighting that's been going on. There's been so much fighting. It becomes very hard to track summoners. It's not down. That leaves him overextended against the enemy team's Cassiopeia. And they do have a lot of CC on the side of FlyQuest. You saw come in with Shrimp and No. Hard gets burned down. They also don't have their 5, 1, and 4 Camille in that fight, who's a pretty key member.
Yep.
So they lose one member of their team, but they do get the bot lane inner turret.
Yeah, Viper instead was taking that turret, so trying to make it work here for Viper. It's kind of in full-on side lane mode for now. Still not quite there on the total items, but ramping up quickly to number 3 should make him a real strong side lane threat. As No tanky, but probably not enough to fight off all of the damage that Viper will build. Baron buff though has dropped off. TLA find themselves up 5,000 gold after the events that unfolded from that Baron, but still not quite enough to threaten these inhibitors and look to close that game out. Gonna need to do a few more steps as FlyQuest Academy gonna try and battle back.
Yeah, I mean, it has been one Baron buff, but you need to remember that was taken at exactly 20 minutes, basically. They were sitting there waiting for it to spawn, so this game feels later than it is right now. Camille was behind about a half item on the Maokai, now about a half item ahead, so Viper has catapulted himself back into a very threatening position, and it's just gonna get worse from here as he builds a couple more defenses now that he's got his damage items locked in.
We'll have to see how the map continues to unfold here. Baron up in 155 if TLA want to revisit that objective.
It's a big lead for the Camille, about 2,500, 3,000 gold basically from what was being behind just 4 to 5 minutes ago.
Viper also now level 16, and with Mickey also approaching levels on his ultimate. Going to be tough to break the side lane threat. TLA have shown very little, I would actually say no fear in this game, despite the early game going the way it did. Sometimes that costs them, but it does look real good when it succeeds. Shrimp trying to dodge out, fighting for wards. Does get himself out safely. This FlyQuest Academy collapsing, trying to make sure this isn't free to clear the vision out, but again, there's no real semblance of map control right now.
No, pushed in all 3 lanes. Team Liquid going for their 1-3-1 or 3-1-1 at this point. He now under a turret versus the Galio he was dominating not too long ago, as well as that Camille being pretty much unkillable by anyone on the side of FlyQuest Academy. Varus does have to be careful about getting jumped on, but with how much control they have, it's hard to find a flank. You see Shrimp and JJ just in a constant battle in this top side for vision. No one really making any ground, but that's fine for TLA, who have the lanes pushed in.
Yep, that's their brush, and FlyQuest Academy want to make sure they hold it for as long as possible. TLA will respect the darkness and actually go to reset as Baron is up in 30 seconds. Ocean Drake will follow 15 seconds after it. So it does feel like TLA have realized that, okay, we couldn't get too much more with our lane pressure. It's time to convert that back into our map control and try and take down these next objectives.
Also grabbing some key items with that. Viper finishes his Sterix Gate. Now very, very scary, and like we said, harder to kill.
Always a good thing. FlyQuest first to the area around Baron, but Viper already back here, threatening the top lane. No, is 2 levels down as well. Maokai might look tanky, but probably not tanky enough.
Nope, that's a lot of HP and armor, but once you start getting the true damage Q by Camille with the Triforce proc on it, you start losing HP pretty quickly.
For now, though, doing a good job just playing back. I mean, conceding a lot of farm as a result, but knows he doesn't want to get pushed so far back that he can't do anything about the Camille, and he's kept that turret protected, which is nice, but you have to think at some point with all of the pressure that Viper has, he'll be able to force his team towards that top side. Mickey actually getting the lanes pushed also as TLA just really setting up for Baron, and I think just waiting for FlyQuest to make a misstep around the map.
Yeah, they're taking it kind of slow. They did lose topside vision control once they all reset, so they're slowly starting to establish that. They are in that 1-3-1 now, and you have to be very careful when you are with that lane setup. It's very easy to have one member end up too far ahead when you're fighting for this vision control. Yep,
Viper also soloing the Ocean Drake. The TLA just demonstrating how much control they have of this bottom half of the map.
Zombie ward plus vision score. It's just so sad when I see that vision score go up by 2 because they cleared a ward and got one on top of a ward that they already had. Just one of those little mechanics where it makes me not like vision score. Makes me sad.
Well, we'll watch some numbers go up around the trinket slots as TLA continuing to fight for vision. Everyone's getting the vision score up now. One of the nice things about these dances around objectives.
Yeah. Zombie ward's a little busted for vision. Like, for that side.
Yes.
The thing is fine a little bit. Maybe it should be looked at as zombie ward provides too much vision in the game. That's fine. But just seeing its effect on the vision score is so artificially inflated.
Are you telling me Shrimp isn't the greatest vision man of all time?
I can't believe he has twice as many as Sejuani.
Wonder what that's about. As Hard slaps down a control ward. Oh, action in bot side. Viper finally getting aggressive. You can see locked in the cage just how much damage mano a mano Viper is able to dish out.
And since he chunked him out there, he did buy potentially a little bit of the time on this turret alone. No, does not feel like he can actually recall right now. It does get a chunk of health back.
His Hard finds one at Shrimp on the stun, but he actually buffered a leap out, I think, on the Keen. Either that or the Merc Treads kicked in real swiftly.
They have Mikhail's on the Janna, actually got that out, so that's a big cooldown.
Great mechanical play, but Viper still gets the prize he wants. He's broken the bot side. He's threatening the inhib in TLA, and now dual-pronged attack in onto the Baron. Viper already got the prize. He might get bonus, as No could go down. Viper flashed it in, gets the kill. Now going to try and outplay the but can't do so. Again, still extending the play. Mickey looking for it. Flash Taunt finds 2. Knock up in onto Shrimp, who is going to go down. And with the jungler dead, TLA may feel they want to go back to the Baron.
It's a little dicey, though, for Team Liquid Academy. They're basically 4 melee members that will only shore you.
That's their motto, though, MarkZ. It's always a little dicey for the boys on TLA. Keen, though, getting zoned off 1v2. That's a kill for Mickey onto Eri, who was just caught too far forward in the traps of Galio. Hard did die. So like we said, scrappy, living up to expectations, but Team Liquid Academy certainly getting leads.
Yeah, I was watching the Casio kite out the 2v1. I thought that was going to end up good for FlyQuest, but not quite sure what happened with Eri. Was able to get jumped on. Hopefully we get a look at that, but we're starting with the Viper 2v1 inhib take as well. No, just not able to survive. 3-item Camille at that point. Gets the Sterix Gauge Rock just in time to live and get the kill. Now with the Galio teleporting in as well, they're too far forward, and Shrimp's going to be able to get locked down by Mickey, but despite that fact, the Casio after getting that kill shows up, and I'm surprised, like I said, with 3 melees that they take this fight, but Eri shifts forward, wraps back around the fight, not landing the Mystic shots to get the cooldown on his Arcane shifts, and then gets taunted up as he shifts in again onto Shoryu. Not quite playing that one defensively enough, and just playing it slow because, like we said, Keen was winning that 2v1 off on the side there.
And Baron was attempted, as we saw in the replay, but gotten off once more by Team Liquid Academy. FlyQuest were able to respond in time. Still, we're about 7,000 gold ahead or so for TLA. Have to be thinking with bot inhib down. They've got free pressure on Baron for the next few minutes and just trying to line things up to take that Baron and, for them, end the game.
Yeah, FlyQuest Academy are going to need to find a period where they can just force on that Baron buff. So Team Liquid Academy can set up a 4-1 now, just sit there around Baron buff and let Viper basically end the game 1v1 if it's just no back defending. And if Keen shows, they get the Baron. So what FlyQuest needs to do is just force around the Baron. Hopefully they get 1 or 2 wards they can use to get a TP flank and actually win a fight and use like a Baron recall to get back in time to stop Viper, but they are in a very precarious position.
Yep, and TLA getting the set up once more. Mickey is top, has the ultimate ready, and all 3 ranks, I believe. They should be able to get very far across the map. Viper still able to provide pressure in the side lane as well. You can see No desperately battling the super minions with Maokai, but it is a tough sell.
Yeah, losing battle on that end.
Ooh, Mickey again, poking away. There's a stun there, but Viper actually teleport in, looking for Keen in the 1v1, but maybe not quite enough. The blowback there from Jana, actually not enough to try and get the damage done, but Viper with the GA will resurrect around 4 of FlyQuest. Not going to keep going, but actually trying to hook shot out. Viper actually going to get away. No, knock back towards him, but Viper somehow lives as Shoryu takes down No. Keen. Did also die to the Galio.
Oh my god.
The heroics continue with this man.
Viper, a man on a mission, somehow doesn't die despite going way too far in. You kind of have to look at Mickey as dropping the Galio ult a little bit too quickly. He needed to wait for the Hextech ultimatum to come in to chain that one together, but don't cry over spilled milk. They get the 2 kills. They teleport into their inhib minions down the bottom.
Yeah, they're going to try and end the game here. Diving back in, JJ takes so much damage from the Winds of War. Dead after the ignite to the Varus. Next is going to be exposed soon as Shoryu able to get the double kill. And TLA just like that snap their fingers and the game ends.
That was a completely crazy game and the exact kind of game we say Team Liquid is known for. It's why it's scary to bet on them, but they always seem to pull these kinds of games out. Right when it starts getting scrappy is exactly when they're in their element.
And that was a lot of fun to watch. I'm sure a lot of fun to play on the winning side.
Yeah.
TLA playing their style do take the victory.
Yeah, and it was a scary start too, given the fact that No had played the early pressure extremely well up in that topside dive. Pretty ill-advised, given that the Camille was still sitting on a Doran's Blade at level 6.
Yeah, Fly really started the game off strong. We'll actually take a look at how Shrimp's pressure in the early stages really got things going. I mean, for FlyQuest, we thought at this point that things were all but over.
Yeah, I mean, you see the jungle getting a little bit too aggressive. We talk about the Janna pick being a little risky, but with that extra fire they have early on, can follow up on that roam play, get the kill onto hard. Mickey now overextended, and Cassiopeia from ahead in this matchup makes it very hard for Mickey to get these roams off. And you saw that they really converted that into more pressure. No, after surviving that gank in the top side, starts roaming down around the mid lane. And like you said, it felt like this game was over. When plays like this start happening against the Galio, you are in a lot of trouble.
And I mean, it just looks so good, but TLA said, okay, you know what? We're behind, but we're not too far behind. We're able to kind of find their way back in. And then TLA things started to happen. Yeah. I mean, we'll have a look in just a second. 22 minutes in, TLA with quite the ace around the dragon. This is where everything just fell perfectly into place.
Yeah, and this is right after a crazy skirmish on the top side that net them Baron. They take a 4v5, no Varus in this fight at the start of it, and they actually start winning it, and especially because Viper had found a lot of kills, was pretty strong, and no one was able to focus him down. They melt the enemy team's AD carry and jungler, and it's an easy chase down. Now that the Varus has shown up, he focuses down No, while Viper goes onto Keen and Airy, or JJ, excuse me, and gets those cleanup kills. Surprising ace seemingly out of nowhere from a over-aggressive fight by Team Liquid. And
I think if we're looking at Team Liquid as the crazy hectic team that just goes off, Viper is the man to me that just exemplifies a lot of that. Yes, you know, a younger, very aggressive, carry-oriented player, but you can tell, even though things started to go wrong, when they start to go right, the snowballs pushed very quickly down the hill.
Yeah, Viper is a carry player who does seem to have the knack for finding opportunities even from behind. We've seen Riven games where he's not been particularly effective. It's 35 minutes in the game. They're on their Nexus turrets, and he finds a way to save them that game. He's a very impressive player in that way, and he matches up very well with Mickey, who is an unbelievably aggressive player himself.
And again, TLA, I think putting the pieces together, that was actually a pretty clean look for me as far as victories. I mean, yes, chaotic in spots, but execution actually looked relatively on point there. So TLA should be happy with this win, especially against FlyQuest.
I think while the game can, like you said, be considered very scrappy, especially between like the 18 and 24 minute mark, they were doing it from a deficit, and you can't just sit back and find the perfect clean play. And, you know, from behind, a lot of the times they do get scrappy when you're trying to come back into the game.
All right, well, we will need a breather after that one. There is more league action coming up after the break. Game 4 starts with Levi and the 100 Thieves versus Cloud9 Academy.